are back in the building. Today is a good day. It's a good day to talk about all kinds of projects, all kinds of stuff. I've been, we covered in here in the XCast. We talked about zero knowledge proof. We talked about the metaverse and owning your data and all that stuff. But also, I've been hearing this word Web5. I definitely heard about Web 1, Web 2, Web 3, but Web 5, I heard about it. Someone skipped Web 4, but I have no idea what's going on. So I thought I'll bring a special friend. He moved from India and he's here in the lovely area of Dubai Marina. So I have this guy, this amazing guy. His name is Vikram Anand Bhushan.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, yeah, cool. All right. And he is the head honcho, the main man at Hypersign ID. So I got a lot of questions for you, buddy. Got a lot of questions. I don't know where to even begin. But I know one thing. I would love for you to introduce yourself to the xt.com community, who you are, and you could also please share us your story. How did you learn about crypto and blockchain? How did you end up over there?
Yeah, sure. Okay, first a little bit about me. I am technically a software developer, but now I have many different roles as a founder. But I started my career as a software developer. I worked for multiple different startups and mostly small scale company, not large scale, because I hated getting into big company. I did work for an MNC in India for 6 months. Then I quit my job. I did not even quit. I don't know. I just left.
Love it. I love it.
I joined multiple startups just to learn, how startup works and what sort of pressure you can get. Although I was a software developer, but my main focus was always about what problem they are solving. Always trying to be close to the CEO of those startups. So I understand their problems that they want to solve. So I just don't learn coding, but I also learned the business. That was always in the back of my mind whenever I was choosing these startups to work with. Fortunately, I did. In my previous one of the roles, I built a product which was used internally by 700 employees for telecalling, and I built single-handedly. So that gave me very good exposure to design, architecture, mostly building like complex system designs, not very complex, decently complex. Yeah. So yeah, that's the sort of background I have as a professional. And but I am a musician as well, so I used to play with some bands in India before the COVID time as a drummer.
Oh wow! Okay, that's pretty cool. That's really cool. Yeah.
And I love traveling. So these are, three of my characteristics, probably you can say. In crypto, mostly it started with me meeting, one of my co-founder. His name is Irfan, and so we met because in India nobody was giving us jazz, for the jazz bands shows. So like everyone was into metal,
rock,
or Bollywood. Bollywood is always there, and all Western music. So that time was the metal era in India. So only metal band used to get shows. So this guy, he's new in India. He started his startup, and he was giving shows in for all the jazz bands or funk bands. So that's how I met him. My band got shows, and then we got closer and we started talking. And then he says, dude, I have invested in Bitcoin. I was like, wow, what is this? All this discussion back in 2015 or 14. 14, I think, started. Then he says one day, dude, I just lost all my Bitcoin. I was like, why? Because he said, I had it in an exchange and exchange is no more. We don't even know if this exchange exists. So this was very intriguing, intrigue. Like I was trying to understand what is this technology. Right. That's how my journey into crypto started. But I did not invest. I was a developer, so I started taking part in hackathons with my brother in multiple ETH India hackathon back in the days.
All right.
And
Okay. Wow.
yeah, so that's how I got into crypto.
No, this is fascinating. I like that. You got the software development side. You got you got this co-founder crash course, experience, and also, hey, it's also good that you also did music as well. So uh, it is interesting you mix that all together, and yeah, thank you for sharing your experience about your first experience with Bitcoin, and also I have never been to a hackathon really, so I heard a lot about it. It sounds quite interesting, so I'm sure you get to meet all kinds of developers, and I guess for you personally, you love problem solving, how to uh, I guess solve a problem and look under the hood, and like I guess software wise.
Yeah, you're right. Like I try to take anybody's problem and see if there is solution that can be built for it. It's I mean that's simple. But in general, if you look at my nature, I am always curious. Yeah, it has nothing to do with software or anything that I do. But in general, I'm very curious. Sometimes it's not good, and sometimes it's good. So, but
Fair enough. Okay, fair enough. I know where this is going, but that's cool. I think.
So that
Well,
way, I mean, that helps me. So that helped me probably wherever I am right now. And luckily, if you have I mean, like now being a little bit serious. So if you have the right mix as founders in your team, then somebody needs to be curious, someone needs to be structured, someone needs to be looking at the whole thing as one. So it's like we in our startup, we got the technically, I personally feel we have the right mix because of this, because other people don't want to be curious and take risk. I am more of a risk taker, but then I can go back to other people and evaluate my risk. How bad is this risk?
all right. Okay.
Because every day I am like a new guy. I wake up and then
Yeah.
I don't know anything what happened yesterday. So everything is new for me, and I want to learn everything, whatever comes to me, which is not a good thing, or could be a good thing. So
Yeah, I get that. I get that. Like, especially what I find, like talking to different founders, and well, just for disclosure to the XE.com community, we are part of a group called Coffee and Crypto. We get to meet with different founders here in Dubai. So I guess what I see in commonality, many founders are here. They're curious. They're trying to learn things, and not just simply learn, but also apply things. So, so I know sometimes it does take sometimes takes the better judgment from us. So we can go on the deep end. So you shared your origin story, and also how you got into crypto and blockchain. But I love the XE.com community to kind of learn a little about this project that you're working on, and you mentioned about Irfan, and I also believe we do have a common friend by the name of Nikola Stojna, if I pronounce his name correctly.
it's
Hopefully, he won't butcher me. How do you?
I don't even take his surname, because it's too difficult. Like the East European surname, exactly.
Yeah, it's tough. So my thousand and million apologies to Nicola. But one thing for sure, he's such a great guy. So I'm glad that we have a good connection in this community. So so anyways, just to connect the dots, I was fascinated with your project, with this project we call Hypersign.id. So could you kind of give us a brief description, and what do you guys are working with, and what were I guess you are trying to, as a problem solver, you're trying to solve a problem in the marketplace. Could you share that with us?
Yeah. Okay, so now since the Web5 boom has come out, it's much easier for me to explain to everyone. So in general, Hypersign is a layer 1 solution built on Cosmos SDK and
Okay.
proof of stake network to manage DID. What are DIDs? It's like decentralized identifier, meaning an identifier. It's not your identity. It's just an identifier that you can control. And as
okay, so sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry. You have identity and identifier. Just can you just I know, just talk to us like we're fifth graders.
yeah, sure. So
Yeah,
okay, thank you for asking that question. And
yeah,
that's the common misconception that people have about
yeah.
decentralized identity. It's basically your identity is it's mixture of many different properties, right? Like
Okay,
your social presence, like your different social media presence, you act differently on each of these social media platform. Then you have your own government
right.
IDs, then probably your personal address, then you have your phone number, then you have your email address. So all these together makes you as your identity. Like this is what you are. So when you say identity, you have to always think, because now in the digital world, it's no more just it's very tough to know who the person is, like if he's actually
Right.
a real human or a bot on a digital system,
Yeah.
right? So
Sure.
you
True.
cannot
True.
just take one property. Like I cannot just look at Twitter, like for example Elon Musk Twitter, and say, oh, this is the guy who Elon Musk is because he tweets about whatever do and okay, no, this is what
Yeah.
Elon Musk is. He's nothing else. But then when we see Elon Musk, we see everything else, right? Like all his what he has done in past. So this together makes it an as a identity, like your identity. Now this is not just one property. This is like multiple. It's a combination of multiple of your properties, off chain, on chain, or digital or physical all together. So when you say identity, you have to think in this way. It's a complex term. It's a term which defines you as a whole. Now, when I
Uh-huh.
say identifiers, it's very simple. It's just the ID that any app gives you. But imagine that
Okay.
this ID you can control. So far, your web presence, right, is
Yeah.
if you want to know what is your identity on Twitter, just on Twitter, it is
Sure.
defined
Yeah.
by the identifier that Twitter gives you, which is your Twitter ID. Very simple.
Right.
Problem
Okay.
with this ID is that you do not control it, even if it's given to you. So even though if you are a big creator, for
Yeah.
example, on Twitter,
Right.
you have a lot of followers. Tomorrow, Twitter kicks you out. There is no way that you can go back to Twitter and say, hey, I can claim this is my ID, because Twitter system doesn't know you. It's that simple.
Yeah. Right.
So
Okay.
now, imagine that there is a system where you can generate identifiers on fly, which you can only control with the help of, Web3 wallet or whatever wallets that we have in.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. This is.
Then you can send this identifier to any businesses. Like if I'm a Twitter, instead of giving you my ID, I will take your ID for Twitter, and then I will have multiple IDs myself for different, web platforms, like different digital platforms. And then all these together maybe define my online identity, all these together. So multiple
Yeah.
identifiers. So what I am saying, we need a system where user can very easily create these identifiers, manage these identifiers, share these identifiers to different businesses, and then
Yeah.
maybe do more stuff from there, like maybe then stamp your private data, personal data, such as passport, your health certificate, or your license, or maybe as simple
Wow.
as having a privacy layer between your wallet to a dApp, that you don't want to show
Okay.
your actual wallet address to a dApp when you are logging into the dApp, but you want to prove that you hold all these assets in your wallet without
Okay.
the app knowing your actual wallet address. So these are the some of the use cases where decentralized identifier can come in. I hope I was able to give you some idea.
No, 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 that's great. No, first of all, thank you for just breaking it down for me and also for the xt.com community, because now it's really good to understand the difference between identity and identifiers. And I love the part where you talked about owning your own identifier. So because I could, definitely, we're very familiar with Twitter, and being in the crypto space, crypto Twitter is a whole beast by itself. So, I know some people have lost their connection to their Twitter accounts, like a lot of, I would say, sorry, I can't think of the right word, but certain people have been removed for various reasons. There's a lot of cultural, political smoke and mirrors going on. So like losing that identifier, especially in our current state of affairs, has a lot of repercussions. Like, man, I can imagine like a lot of influencers, if they lose their connection. Oh man, it's the end of everything in terms of finances and their social identity, all that stuff. So it's interesting. You saw that as quite a big problem, and I think they're seeing that already. There is this drive to own your data or to own your identifier in a sense.
Yeah, actually, just one more point there. Imagine that you can look at it like this. You propose your identifier to Twitter, and then it's okay. Like Twitter kicks you out, not a problem. But all the score of your identity, meaning the maybe the Twitter number of users or what it could be, like Twitter is just giving you a score that now you can have control of that. Meaning, even if Twitter kicks you out because let's say you are a bad actor on their platform, that's fine.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
But what's good is that now with this identifier, you have something on a blockchain that you can share to anyone saying, hey, I was associated to Twitter. This is my score. And, these are the reasons why I was kicked out. I don't think this is the right reason. And I can claim that I was part of the Twitter because my DID was actually associated to Twitter server's DID or something like that. This. Whenever, for example, we have two types of DIDs in our system. Technically, all the DIDs are same, but there is a organization account which has to be so they need to verify multiple parameters of their information as an organization in order to have that account. So that way, any normal user can associate themselves to a dApp's account, and they can say that I have this association stored in a public ledger called hypersign.id, and then there they can at least prove themselves. So it's very simple as that.
All right. So I guess in my simpleton mind, I see Hypersign as a way to prove your authenticity, build trust, so, but also from, I guess, a social network, I guess, depending on organization and stuff, you're trying to lower the operation costs and optimize the workflows, try to improve the current state of affairs in a technical perspective. Am I saying that right? Or please correct me.
That's a good question, actually. So the point is, if already these things can be done in a smart contract, why there is a need of this, right? Like we can write a smart contract and deploy it on Ethereum maybe, and then then change everything in my system just to do specific thing. Do you think any existing business would take this type of steps? It's impossible. In my opinion, the traditional business, to move them to Web3, this is a huge challenge because they have to completely rewrite their system. If they have to move to, decentralized infrastructure. For example, if you have a banking infrastructure to give loan, you want to change it to something like what DeFi says, like Web3 sort of thing, where you want to decentralize it. You have to rewrite the whole application. And then you have to deploy that on public chains, which you see is a lot of work.
Yeah.
But there could be stages in which we could do. Like we can start with decentralizing the identifiers, which in terms gives you some more power, such as verifiable credential, which in terms actually gives the same sort of features that smart contracts or Web3 sort of smart contracts that gives you, like basically any user can verify themselves without having to go to a central party, like like if you have to verify me, you can verify me with my verifiable credential, which are kept off chain, but by verifying some of the properties on chain, these are some of the features, like a building block of Web3. And currently for businesses to move completely into Web3, it's a complete rewrite. So what self-sovereign identity standard is trying to bring in is a sort of a bridge which can bring this gap lower and lower. And maybe in future, we see everything decentralized. So it's a cheaper way to make your infrastructure decentralized. I see it that way.
Okay. So I guess in some ways you're offering tools and softwares that kind of meets halfway, try to help, I guess, bridge the gap.
Maybe. So it's a Web5 solution.
Oh, yeah.
2.5 space.
Hey, you do what you gotta do, man. Yeah. No, that's interesting. I think it's interesting you're working on that because to get some of the folks from Web 2 to Web 3, I think not many people realize like it's not a big step. You're talking about like big canyon, gap, like big valley gap. Like not many people do realize how big of a problem it is. Like it's going to be really difficult. Like how much of money, talent, other kinds of resources, so yeah, I actually want to stress that particular because I want not just xe.com, the community to learn about it, but just the general public too, because this is we are going through a revolution where crypto and blockchain is changing the way we use our internet, information, and money. So thank you for sharing that perspective. But anyways, let's dive into Hypersign. You guys got some interesting suite of products, suite of tools, which is part of the Hypersign
ecosystem
protocol. Could you kind of dive into that just briefly?
Okay, yeah. So first part was like what everyone is confused about it, like why so many products and why it is not just one thing, right? Like because the point is, if you just have the DIDs, nobody wants it. Nobody wants to change their existing system. So you need to have some solutions around it which can actually help them solve their problems, like day-to-day problems. And if DIDs are integral part of these solutions, then it becomes very easier for the dApps or business owners to adopt it. In general. So basically, at a low, you can think this Hypersign at the lower stage is the Hypersign network, which manages the DID, and everyone can issue their DID and manage their DID. It's a normal proof of stake network that like all of us have, and it's built on Cosmos. Now, on top of it, we have some things that we have figured out, like it could be done this way. So, for example, one of the use cases that we are very focused on is a authentication use case. So basically, you can authenticate to dApp, generate your wallet on the fly, without having you to manage their, your private keys. This is not the best solution to store your assets, but it's the right solution for a dApp to get on board users. Like current challenge for dApps is that we have wallets integrated. I'm a gaming dApp. I spend so much money on marketing it, but then I don't see users even. I see user coming to my website, but they don't even log in. What's the reason behind it? It's because minimum you need 1 week time to understand how a browser wallet works. And imagine it's a pain point. What if
sure.
way that you could have the same feature, like all the properties that a browser wallet provides, with just your existing, the way you have been logging in with an email address. A link goes to your email address. You click a link. There are DKG nodes, like decentralized key generation scheme, which generates your private key. And then on the browser, you have private key generated for you on the fly. And this private key is not in control of any dApp. It's just the users, it's always in the control of user. If, for example, if user logs out, so the private key is deleted or, removed from the browser. Excuse me. And then whenever he relogs in, he regenerates. There are another benefit to this is that if I have my MetaMask wallet, for example, and I'm connecting it to all the dApps, every dApp gets to know all my assets, what I have. What if? This is a huge problem, in my opinion.
Oh man, you're asking to be robbed or something.
Yeah. So what if every dApp can initially have their own wallet? You as a user have your own wallet for each dApp. This is where you get your own DID registered for each dApp. Like you control the identifiers. That's how it starts. Like login user management is the first thing for any application. And that's where you fit in the DID. So our first use case is authentication and authorization for Web3 and Web2 both. Where for Web2, the benefit is that they can log in without passwords. And then from there, the whole, the suite for managing user. So like your own users, your company's employees as a user, or your external user. So this together integrated with the ID technology is one of the use cases that we are working in. Another use case that we have found is like in basically Web3 marketing. So there were some problems around users, when you are doing your token sale, and then you do a lot of
campaigns,
and then it gets taken over by bots. So basically, we use the same technology on a marketing tool, and we were able to solve some problems for there, where we have now very good traction. So far. Luckily, yesterday we break even for that particular product, and then we crossed 57.
Congratulations!
This month. There are more use cases, such as the other one. There is this product called Collabland. Collabland lets you log into to a Discord server using your wallet. So basically, if you are playing a game, Web3 game like a metaverse in any other game, and you have collected your assets, you can use Collabland. So other projects, other new game projects, they will integrate Collabland, and they will ask the users to connect their MetaMask wallet, and then from there they generate the same role, permission, everything in their new game. So user feels that he have all the assets in game 1. Now he's going to game 2. He has all the assets and same sort of features, in the game 2 also. So, but the main problem here is that I am literally telling everything about my wallet. Like, even though my wallet has assets for something other than the gaming, I am still showing them my complete wallet. So the game, if it's a spam game, imagine there are so many spammers, they will know your wallet address, and then they know all the games that you're playing. They might be able to, track you or find you, or you connect you to your wallet to your social ID minimum. That's and then they will know, like, you are in this, you are a big bag holder. Maybe you want them to know, but so basically, what if you can do the same thing but with a privacy? Like, you generate a proof, then you submit a proof to the system, and the proof gives you the same features that currently Collabland provides you. But without giving away your wallet addresses. So these are some of the use cases and SDKs that we are building currently on top of it. So we are support, and then once the network goes live, we will try to explain these to devs and basically ask them to build on top of us.
All right. No, this is interesting. I'm glad that you brought up the the issue of privacy. I think because I think it kind of blows my mind. Like, people can see what kind of collectibles or whatever on your MetaMask. I can imagine like other kinds of wallets too. So, because to me that's putting out, like, I'm thinking from the user's point of view, putting our users, what do you say, expose themselves to financial voyeurism. So people can know a lot about what you're doing, what you're up to. So that kind of because, like, it's not just the money part, but it's also the information about who you are and stuff that can be used against you. So it is fascinating. I'm glad that you are working on those kinds of projects, working on those kind of tools. So
basically, DIDs and verifiable credential can bring this type of features for Web3, normal users like you and me. I mean, bringing a privacy layer in a very different way. Basically, for example, if it's very easy to track anyone on Ethereum, like any public chain.
It's a pretty much any public blockchain, right? Doesn't matter. Like,
I mean, not Ethereum. Ethereum is an example because I use Ethereum a lot. So for example, that's why it came in my mouth right now as an example. But in general, any public blockchain, if we have somebody's wallet address, I can get it to all their existing, behavior, and then the only thing which stops us from knowing this person is, like, we don't know actually their any of their private data. But these products like Collabland, they are connecting their wallet addresses to the Discord ID or Telegram ID or maybe Twitter ID. Now I know who the person is on Twitter, and then I know all his,
You can connect the dots, right?
You try to connect, and maybe government can use this as an tool to track people. So this could be so these are some of the problems that the ID and verifiable credential can technically solve for Web3.
Right. Okay. No. This is really important. I'm actually personally, for me, I find that really important because like previously, I mean, I was working with American Express and also like dealing with other clients from the traditional financial space. I mean, like there have always been issues with data leaks and all that stuff, because unfortunately a lot of them are centralized, but there's always been some sort of bad actors, whether it's HSBC or maybe in the United States we have like these credit scoring agencies. They have been through so many leaks. I mean, like it's insane that's happening. Now we're seeing that also in unfortunately different public blockchains. It is pretty much possible, so that exposure I think is to me it is a serious matter. So I also want to bring that attention to my audience, the XT.com community, but also the general public, and also bring your project in awareness and get them to know, hey, this is something we all need to think about. And I guess my next question is,
it's very simple. Sorry to just last line.
Sure. Go ahead. Yeah, please.
Connect your wallet to every dApp that you see, giving you 100,000 APY. That's like first see the dApp background, because many of these dApps are just spamming you and trying to take your wallet.
But I'm addicted to those APYs, man. 1,000%. Man, I'm trying to hit the moon, baby. I'm trying to retire, man. Look at me. I got all this gray hair, man. I need to retire so soon, man. Live in a hut. Just enjoy being rich, man. Why are you breaking my dream, bro?
No, but you can connect your wallet, but just do a little bit of background check if the team is good. All the anons are not the anons that will make you rich. Maybe they will steal your money.
Hey, fair enough. Hey, folks, you heard it. Please do your research and take the extra steps, please. I think the problem he's talking about and how he's solving it really matters. I mean, your data matters not just to you, but other people as well. There are some folks who will never leave you alone, so you have to be vigilant and protect your data. So I think it's interesting that we are living in a really interesting time. We are moving from Web 2 to Web 3, or I guess Web 5. I'm still confused with that. So I think I might need to ask you to explain a little more in detail. But it's interesting to see how important our data is. I never realized how big of a deal it is. Is there any points you would like to share or maybe educate us on this?
I mean, it's a very general point, but personal data is very important. All of us know, but the way the systems are built, I feel very difficult to not give away my personal data. Like everywhere I go, I have to actually register with all my information, even to avail a simple service. we have to think 100 times as a Wi-Fi, simple service as Wi-Fi.
Oh,
that's,
yeah.
that's the best example for giving away your personal data. Like here I am in Dubai, every Wi-Fi I go first will ask me 100 questions and then let me use that. So
Yeah.
the business model there is the same. Like they are just data collection centers, and then these data are being sold or being mismanaged, or I don't know what is being done with it. But these are like, this is a larger problem that Web3 wants to solve. Somehow stop the share of data. It's we are not yet there, but some small steps would reduce. For example, at least let's see example of DeFi, right? Like, and MetaMask, best example.
Yeah.
Wallet, sorry, MetaMask is just a type of wallet.
Yeah.
DeFi project doesn't ask you anything. You just connect your MetaMask and avail the service. It's a simple example that could be brought in. That hey, you don't have to be the type of banks collecting all the private information in order to avail the service. To take
Exactly.
for example.
Right.
So even though DeFi right now is failing, people say no, model doesn't work, but that's fine. We have to understand the crux of it, what we are trying to solve. We are not trying to give you more APY, make you rich. What we are trying to solve is when X amount of users participate in this system, what all current Web2 problems we can solve and at what scale. So and it will fail definitely. Like there are fail because of multiple reasons. Maybe business problem is not correct. Maybe we just try to bribe people, more bribe to get in more users on our platform. Because of that, ecosystem breaks. But these are a different problem in my opinion. These are technical problems. But what philosophical problem like we want to solve is basically stop the share of personal data. And there will be $1 billion worth of businesses running without having to ask any single private
right data. So no, that's a good point. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. I mean, I see it this way. Like I don't see Terra failed or it's failed. It failed. Maybe I don't want to get in that discussion.
Sure.
But personally, I always try to see what I benefit from them. Like as if I read about a project, if I see even if it's a failed project due to some other reason, but it did solve something, right? And which was like the whole ecosystem, $10 billion worth of ecosystem was running without asking any single private data from users. So this is just a simple, examples now, and more examples will come in market to be where Web3 wants to be, which is like all the businesses are operating with complete privacy for their users without nobody is selling the private data. There is some other incentive in the business model that helps them keep running the business apart from the data being the fuel, So data, everybody is now going into data. In India, it's there is an example of this company called Reliance. Reliance is it's traditionally a petroleum company, right?
Okay. Yeah, I remember.
That used to be like the gold. Now Reliance moved away from that, and they have a cloud service because now they say like the data is the new gold.
New gold, the new oil, right.
New oil, but imagine what's the thought process behind it. We have to build solutions to safeguard these data that are going to be stored in cloud, especially in countries which are not yet completely online, like India and Southeast Asia and all these countries, right? The smaller growing countries. So the problem is huge. It's still not solved. So and Web3 adding one simple steps towards solving this problem.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. No, this is fascinating. I was just reflecting when you mentioned about one is data being the new oil, but also you kind of changed. You kind of showed a different perspective about the DeFi part. Like we have proven, like, hey, there's $1 billion where we are not asking people for any data, because I know, like, when I was working with American Express, we asked so much of information. I mean, like the only thing I didn't ask from my clients is a blood sample. Like everything else, I'm just like, it's just like so much information, and sometimes it is, it kind of, it was. I mean, personally for me, like doing the sales stuff, business development, relations, okay, like I can throw in like these, try to overcome objections about, asking for data and all that stuff. But it did create a rough user experience, which is quite prevalent in the traditional financial space, also in crypto, but it is starting to improve much better, better user design, user experience, like, so I'm happy to see that. And the mindset is definitely different in crypto and blockchain. But I'm thank you for saying that, we just have proven that, hey, we are doing billion-dollar business, not asking too much of unnecessary data, and we're respecting people's privacy, their dignity. And I think that personally for me is sort of heartfelt, and I also want that for the XT.com community and people worldwide. So yeah, anyways, like, thank you for bringing that all that together and really explaining that so well.
I thought I misled your question, but I was just trying to give my perspective.
No. This perspective is, to me, it is valid. It really matters, because I think that thought leadership definitely has to be out there, because especially in this this bear market, right, like we are in right now, or crypto winter. I'm sure a lot of people are asking. I mean, of course, there have been a lot of losses and stuff, but I think people will be more genuine, and they're going to ask, like, the tough questions, the hard questions, and try to reflect what's really happening. Avoid the fear, avoid all this noise, hit the signal, and ask these questions. Like, what is Web3, or I definitely want you to touch on Web5.
Yeah.
Before we end this, but to ask the right questions, I think this is needed in the space, and also for us, for XT.com as a community, and also as an exchange. We want to ask ourselves these tough questions, and how we can improve the user experience, and how we can offer much user-friendly, advanced financial services, and help build a much more friendlier community, a more fruitful community. So I think these things, to me, unique perspectives is needed at this current time. So
Absolutely.
That's my.
Yeah, especially in crypto world, user experience is important, because crypto world doesn't provide good user experience. Wallet is the biggest challenge in crypto, apart from the complex protocols. But protocols are later. User just want to have a wallet and maybe buy some crypto. Exchanges do definitely bridge this gap a little bit, but then exchanges, they centralize the whole concept. So that's maybe having solutions where every user can own their own keys and still have a user experience like I'm logging into an exchange. So I mean, just saying my 2 cents.
No, sure. Hey, it is that 2-piece. Who knows? After this bear market, it'll go to the moon, man. It's going to be worth a lot. So hey, we got to dream big, my man. We got to dream big. But I'd say, I just realized, hey, we are close to the time. But could you end this episode with some words of wisdom about Web5? So
Okay. So to understand Web5, you have to understand the problem in Web3. According to Web5, basically,
sure.
I'm not the flag bearer of Web5. I'm just saying it's just happened to be the same technology that I am building, and they calling it Web5 with some XYZ bells and whistles around it. So
right, yeah.
So basically, what they are saying is that what blockchain wants to do is somehow get all the data in one storage and then replicate this storage across. Yeah, it's working fine for certain types of data. For example, our transactional data only specific to banking. I'm just giving an example, hypothetically.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure whether we have reached the perfect place where Bitcoin is considered as a bank. But I'm just saying that this works. But what about the whole data that is sitting in the data lakes? We are talking about trillions of data, MBs of data, like multiple terabytes of data flowing at one time. I'm talking about data systems that is currently flowing in the real world. So imagine all these comes into one blockchain, then trying to scale that up is a huge problem. Like that's the problem of trilemma problem.
Right.
So what Web5 says, how about we use DIDs and then we use verifiable credential to stamp all the private data and keep it separately with every vendor. The user interacts with only one vendor. The blockchain doesn't need to store all the information of the user in the ledger, and then it is copied across the vendor, which again increases their data size and whatnot. Instead of that, we just interact with the vendor that we are interacting. Currently, all the data, let's say, is stored in this vendor one, but it's in the form of verifiable credential and only accessible by the user. So the vendor provides a data vault for the user. And now the twist is, suppose what blockchain wants to say is, blockchain wants to say that if I go to any vendor, I should be able to verify myself just by showing my wallet, right? And basically all the data is stored in blockchain, so anyone can just verify me, all my data properties there, and then know whether what type of wallet this is. Yeah, exactly. Same user experience you can have with verifiable credential. For example, now vendor one has verifiable credentials and you go to vendor two. As a user, I can just sign into vendor two with my DID, and when vendor two is able to read all my verifiable credentials stored at vendor one, because both of them follow the same self-sovereign identity standard and they have the same sort of tools. So basically we have one governing body called World Wide Web Consortium that is defining these standards, and then all of us are building SDKs which follows the same standard, like exactly same thing. So even though the data is stored in our server, it has the signature of the issuer and the user. Now the user can go to any other vendor and they can send the same data from vendor one to vendor two, because that's a data vault concept which controlled by the user and not the vendor itself. Vendor is just a provider, like server space for you to store your data vault. Example is like all the email system will use the same. It's the best example, like emails is going to become verifiable credential, meaning every email that is coming to you is a verifiable credential in itself. And then you can choose different email providers like Google to Microsoft. You can sync up the data directly from your vault. Google is just giving you a server space and you're paying for them. But the data belongs to you because you have the DID control. Your DID has the control to the credential. Do you understand? Like it actually solved the scaling problem, because now you don't need to store everything on blockchain. It's
interesting.
Anywhere the way it is, it just have to be verified and has to have the same standard in the way the data is stored, which is using the schema concept and the verifiable concept. But again, still this is a test bed. I am not saying that this is going to be the best solution.
No, fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Like this is what Web5 is trying to solve over blockchain, like where blockchain says all the data needs to be on chain and encrypted. Technically, private data also they are trying to say that encrypt it and put it on blockchain, which is not a good idea.
Interesting. This is really fascinating. I know it is pretty comprehensive, but I love the fact that we are trying to solve some of the scalability issues, especially with blockchain and stuff. So definitely, I'll tell you what. Definitely, I want to have another episode with you again. Let's. We cannot just simply end it off just like that. We definitely want to. I want to create. What do you say? Another segment for Web5. I think that's. I think we have to discuss that much more. I think a lot of people need to really understand what Web5 is, and I think we need to demystify some of the stuff. But of course, I think we are still trying to figure out a lot of stuff on the go. It's like, we're on the train trying to fix something, like it feels that way. So,
yeah, it's
but
a very new one. I don't even know whether their solution will work, because I'm still
yeah, true.
new concepts added to that. We have to observe that, or maybe try their solution and see how good it is, or if it actually works in the real world scenario or not. So
yeah, sure, yeah, but yeah, no, I agree. I think that the only way is to like test it out and find out and hope for the best and try to correct things and always improve. I think I feel that's one way to do this. But
yeah,
anyways,
sure.
but yeah. But anyways, hey Vikram, hey, first of all, thank you for taking the time to share what you're working with. Thank you for sharing your origin story about Hypersign, some of the problems and the solutions that you guys are solving, and especially in the realm of DIDs. Man, I think, you were way ahead before Twitter and Jack Dorsey. All these guys were talking about DID in Web5. So definitely love the the risk taking you're taking in your life, the entrepreneurship, the trying to put all these skills together. I think that is really impressive. So one thing for sure, I want the Exceed.com community to learn about your project, but also they're also going to see you again. We're going to definitely we want to make this thing happen. So if you're open to another episode, hopefully we'll figure that out. So if you're open to that, I would love to have you again, sir.
Yeah, I would love to talk to you. I always love our conversation.
Yeah. I'm glad we get to put it in. Put it in the video, put it in the podcast. So, anyways, I know you got things to do. We definitely gonna meet up again for Coffee Crypto here in Dubai. So definitely, our audience is gonna learn more about this. So, anyways, we gotta go. Thank you for tuning in, everyone, and definitely you're gonna see Vikram again and some other amazing solutions that he's bringing in to the crypto and blockchain space. So everyone, y'all be good, y'all be safe, and we will talk to you soon. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.